they can join the developer team. I did a little searching around, found the Yosemite file, downloaded it, put it on the existing Macintosh area that I would have it, and ended up with a Yosemite operating system on this second drive I'm going to boot it now. Hoping the video will work, because I have no way of testing it. Here. And the Mavericks operating system won't let me use the control panel option to pick a startup drive because it doesn't know that exists. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the option. But I'm going to hold down the option key to do what I'll say it's going to do that now, so that it brings up the interactive where do I want to move to option.
System preferences won't recommend it.
It's a new operating system. It doesn't exist in the Mavericks operating system. It works the other way, but it doesn't work this way. That sort of makes logical sense. So now I'm holding down the option key. That should give me, you can't see it. It's not here yet. Right, it's not here yet. So my three choices I have right now is the recovery. That's what I can always use to get back. My regular Macintosh HP, and the one I named, I went ahead and set it in Yosemite. I'll use that, so I'll boot it for that. Let's hope the video works. It boots slow. In fact, a lot of things are still slow because they really haven't optimized it. I've had this loaded on here for I've had this on here for 2 weeks. 3 updates have already come because it's still in beta. They did something different. I went ahead and put in my master password that I use on my Macintosh. It went through and asked me a bunch of questions, who I was, my Apple ID, all that baloney. And the first time I rebooted it, my password didn't work. And the reason was I had to do a little research. At least right now, it used my Apple ID password, which is different from my computer password. And I guess that was part of their agreement or whatever it is. We're going to try to keep it all tied to. Oh, but you can change the password if you want to. But it didn't. But of course, there's no documentation with this. This is all kind of learned. So let's go ahead and. So you can see right now I'm booted into Yosemite. There's a few things that when they were talking about it that I really liked, and unfortunately, I didn't want to take the chance of screwing my phone up, and there's no way to put both operating systems on the phone. So we'll have to wait for integration on that. So that's one of the real features I like about it. Let's go into system preferences and talk a little bit. Looks different. Now, who's to say it might look different again between now and when we release it? Time frame probably about October. But here's their general icon, and this sort of looks about the same. Although now the scroll bar information is here, which I think I went before also. Here you can pick the default browser. ASCII changes, yada yada yada. So it's got some upfront stuff. Again, this may change a little bit. Desktop and screensaver, that pretty much looks about the same. Here is the translucent menu bar. You know what? I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of translucency. Maybe it's because I don't like the fact that whatever picture I've got back here is going to affect the color of that bar. So thank God they have this option here. And I hope they offer some more options like that down the road. Here's the dock option, and this is pretty much about the same. I decided to keep it down here at the bottom. I'm going to turn the hiding on for right now. Normally I leave it over at the right-hand side because I figure I got more screen real estate this way than I do up and down, so that just means that this is the way it sort of looks. You can see down at the bottom, the icons look a lot different. But they're the same, basically. Mission control, I personally don't use mission control. That's me because I'm an old school guy. I'm lazy. Language and region, that's pretty much about the same. That hasn't really changed. Security and privacy, that hasn't changed a whole bunch, but they've got some other options that they've added in here where you'll be able to customize some things regarding those specific options. So that's kind of handy from that standpoint. I love having the extra flexibility.
Great. Yes. On security and privacy, can we go back to that?
Yeah.
Okay, and you showed general. Did you show file vault?
No.
Okay. This is our warning to you on file vault. There are other ways to protect your stuff. If you turn on file vault, and something happens to the hard drive, you're screwed. So don't be over paranoid about, keeping everything file vaulted up, because it encodes it and unencodes it.
Yeah, everything's encrypted.
Encrypted. Yeah, every time it uses the file. So I don't usually talk about that. Firewall is basically for internet. And firewall is off, turned off. All incoming connections to the computer are
But this is
allowed.
still controlled through network.
Right,
So.
and it's basically you sometimes this is extra firewall because if you go through an airport base station, there's your firewall right there.
E-router is a first level firewall.
Right. And so be careful with firewalls because I've had over the years I've had people do that. And, oh my
Yeah, if
God.
you have a machine that was locked down onto a kiosk or something like that, I can see where you might want it there.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for a long time. I keep all my personal information and keep this image on my hard drive.
That's not a bad idea.
And then I want to go look at my wiki file, for example, I just click on that and it asks the password.
Are you using a built-in encryption or a third-party utility?
This utility.
Yeah. The disk utility has the ability to make a disk image
Yeah, I've done that.
file
I probably did that 10 years ago. It's still working fine today.
No, that's a good way to go. That way you can't screw your whole system up again.
Make sure that you have a backup.
Yes.
If I go through that enough,
Part of it is defeating the purpose.
Yes, Corky.
Just in curiosity, if somebody, would they provide you with photos from your somebody?
Yep.
I was curious.
Now this one here, I found that on the internet. I just typed in Yosemite images, and believe it or not, there's a half a dozen or so. There's a Mac OS 10 Yosemite with an image in there already.
Okay.
So that's just because I wanted something to visually identify it real quick. So
you were back and show off.
okay, sorry, what?
On that little eyebrow on your cemetery,
Yes.
I looked out there, I got any eyebrows that down out.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't find anything.
from Glacier Point.
Hey, one time when I was
Guys, we got to get through this.
Okay.
We gotta chat.
Spotlight pretty much looks the same, but they apparently they've added a lot more options to it. And I just haven't had a chance to go through and read everything about it. But they've got this exists right now in our current version of Spotlight, which is the order of search. In my cases, I would probably search documents first, but I use a third-party utility on the Mac called Alfred, which is available for free on the App Store, which I really like because you hit the space bar and the option key or whatever key you choose and type in the first couple letters, and it gets it there, and that's how I'm able to do back and forth quick. So Spotlight's added a couple of features that it's going to be basically, they think, an Alfred replacement.
Greg,
Yes.
did you show them how to move those, like you said, documents? You wanted to check documents first. You take and grab it, and see the blue line, that's where it's going to put it,
That's the order of search. I can see the numbers running down the side.
right? So you can rearrange those to fit your,
Whatever, right, if it takes a little longer than you want it to be, move it farther down. Events and reminders, probably not. It's probably not. But anyway.
I don't know.
Okay. And then now they have a whole notification panel, which is a little more involved than what it was before. And you can adjust, very similar to what iOS 7 is. You can adjust if you want a notification to come up on screen or none. You can have it either be an alert style one or a banner style one where it displays across the entire screen. So somebody tries to connect with me with FaceTime. Do I want a regular notification to go across the entire screen, or I just want the little pop-up that you would normally get here, like that?
I took mail out of the notification center through this process, but I'm still getting a little banner in the upper right corner.
That's on, first off, you're on Mavericks.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to make sure that you've got it set to none here, if that's the case, and there may be one of those. I'll have to look for you back into Mavericks. I have it taken out of mine. Of course, it's still going to show up on the badge. You're still going to see, the little 8 or 9 unread messages or whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I just don't want crap blocking me on the screen, especially if I'm watching a movie. So there's more flexibility here. You can also let it do it. Go ahead. If you do it by time, it puts the most commonly used ones towards the top. Okay, now let's come over here and look at displays. That's pretty much about the same. It's recognizing the projector, the standing projector here. Show mirror options in the menu bar. That still exists. Arrangement. If I didn't want to have a mirror, I could make them double screen or triple screen or whatever screens you're fortunate enough to be able to have. And of course, the color and the calibrations. That's pretty much all the same. That hasn't really changed much.
Greg, before you buzz off that too, down on the lower left says AirPlay display, no device is detected.
That's new.
That is new.
That's new.
And that's really a nice feature because.
Let me explain that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Right now, most of you know if you've got an Apple TV at home, then your iPhone, your iPad, or your Mac via iTunes could be playing music to the Apple TV, could be playing a video, a TV show, or a movie or whatever through Apple TV, through iTunes, and the Apple TV to watch on your big screen. Right now, if you want to put this screen up on your TV, you had to do a physical cable like an HDMI cable out, or you had to have some other third-party adapter or whatever cable out to come into maybe the RGB ports or something like that. Or you had a third-party program like Beamer. Actually, Beamer's only designed for movies. AirParrot was one where we mimic the screen. Parrot, get it, Parrot? We mimic the screen and put it up there. And so-so. It'll work. But the thing was, the ability was there. It was always there. Apple just chose not to give it, so people added that in themselves. That'll be a new feature. That'll be a new feature. If we have an Apple TV, I'm not so sure. I haven't even tried it for a long time.
Right.
My Apple TV.
That means I can get rid of all these.
Probably can get rid of most of them, but I want to even get to something else. So
This is
I like that little case. Is that what do you think that was?
Yeah, this thing is called. I got it at Micro Center. It's called Cocoon, and they come in multiple sizes. And basically, it's bands, rubberized bands, so that the stuff doesn't slip. But it allows you to take and make your own layout. And
so it's similar to the Grip It or Grab It or whatever.
Exactly. Except that does
but I
not.
would like it to have. I like the one just for cables. I like that idea.
Well, with the cover, that's why I liked it. Cocoon. You know that movie with all the old men?
And Cocoon.
And Cocoon too.
So that'll be really nice. Like in my wife's case, she gets the good spot right in front of the television. So if she's trying to do something or whatever with her iPhone or iPad or her Mac or whatever, I'll have the ability to be able to use my Apple TV as the connection and wirelessly broadcast this screen no matter what I'm doing. So I watch that when I'm watching the board. And put it up there on the Apple TV so that you can see it on the big screen. Well, that's pretty convenient rather than having a $2,000 projector or whatever when you really got the price. That's pretty handy. You've already got that device. And so it's recognized that there's no Apple TV or competitive device.
The double dip with the Apple TV because there are three versions. Try will be with Apple TV 2 and 3, not the Apple
Not the
TV.
first one.
It won't work with the first. It'll work with second, third generation.
That will be fun.
And there may be a fourth one coming out here soon. We don't know.
Supposedly.
Question.
Yes.
Kind of related to that. I don't have iOS 8 beta, but I do. But I do have the Yosemite.
Yosemite.
Right. And supposedly, when everything comes out, you'll be able to use a lightning cable and use your.
Yes.
Okay.
That's supposed to be one of the big features because those of you who were here last month, you know that they blocked the ports that allowed me to broadcast to my Mac, so we can see it up here, or my iPhone. Russell's got the ports blocked. They worked at home and it didn't work here. I finally got that down.
But the
And
question
we were
is,
able to use Stuart's got a Mophie, one of the wireless L3, LG4 or whatever the hell it
it's
is. Or it gives you a
LTE.
wireless hotspot using your phone. And he let me use that, so I was able to tell my Mac to look at that and tell this to look at his Wi-Fi. We bypass Russell's network and still get the iPhone up there on the screen.
But the question is, if you have it connected with the lightning cable to your Yosemite, will iMovie or whatever they fix it up, will that recognize it as a camera to import?
Now that I don't know.
'Cause that's a real
There'd be no reason why it shouldn't be able to.
right, because it's Apple.
Should be able to use this as a portable camera or whatever.
That's great.
He's asking, one of the features that they're going to have, because they're putting a lot of connectivity between iPhone, iPad, iOS device, and Mac OS 10. They're putting a lot of connectivity. One of them's connectivity, one of them's handoff. We'll talk about this in a moment. But one of the options will be is you'll be able to plug in your lightning cable, so it's probably only going to work with the 8-pin connector lightning cable to a USB port here on the Mac. And now you'll be able to broadcast this directly to the Mac without going to anybody's network. For demo purposes or whatever you want to do or explain, or they're probably doing the thing to write apps. Is my thing. Stuart's saying, wouldn't that be a nice feature if there was a way for you to use the camera on here connected to the USB cable as a third-party camera? You'd be able to set that up here like this and use that as just a camera feed to be able to get it into your Mac. But there's no reason that can't be done. So if Apple does it, you can bet somebody will come up with an app that'll do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably within a few weeks. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because I've wanted that for a long time. It's really easy for me to explain something to my wife when it's on that big screen in front of her, as opposed to, well, bring your iPhone over here and let me show. And if I don't have her do it 2 or 3 times, she won't remember it. She's pretty bad about that. It's not a somebody said that earlier, where I over her computer and there's like 15 updates. Whatever. Thank you. And you wonder why I wanted to get you your own computer. Okay, energy savers pretty much about the same. The power nap, yeah, that's still the same. That's currently average right now. So that pretty much looks about the same. Oh, you announced it. You've always been able to set a schedule. Let's see. And now they're calling them extensions. Remember, we used to call them this way back when. This is kind of new to Yosemite. So apparently this is will be customizable at some point in time. Down here, you're going to be able to get third-party extensions. I don't think it's the same as like a Photoshop extension, but I think it's extensions in the operating system, is my guess.
Would that be the same as plug-in?
No.
No, that I don't know.
Years ago, when the Mac first started, you had the operating system, and you had control panels and extensions. Pardon me?
And the printer.
And a printer drivers. And this would have been the control panel, and then you could have set things inside of there. And the extensions were things that you didn't want to mess with because they were used by certain applications to do certain functions. And then the plugins are different. And they've now brought it back, which is going to be interesting.
Well, I think it's so you can have more control over your computer. So, I mean, the initial reasoning behind the extensions was Apple had locked the operating system down so tight that if you wanted to buy third-party to get around, now that it's OS 10 based, like it has been for years, you could always hack everything through a terminal session.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty much utilities like Tinker Tool and System Tinker Tool, basically those are just front ends for using the hacks at terminal. If you get one of the OS 10 books on terminal hacks, there's thousands of things you can do in there that you may or may not want to do yourself. And there's a lot of third-party utilities that offer those with a fancy-looking Mac front end on it. So it's always been there. It's just been hidden from us. So it looks like this is a way for them to be able to open this up a little bit more. And the network, that doesn't change a whole bunch. That pretty much looks about the same. So I don't see a big change there. And the same thing with Bluetooth. That looks pretty much about the same. And the sharing, there's not a lot of changes here that I can see. So we're not going to see a whole bunch of changes in probably some of this stuff. Users and groups, this is a little bit different. It's still got your login options. That pretty much is about the same. Your login items, what you want to come in automatically when you first log in to the computer, that you can still customize. Parental controls, that's pretty much about the same. The App Store, again, I don't know why they automatically had this, but here's some, this was done way back when in preferences on the App Store. Now you've got it actually added in here into the system preferences where you have it automatically check for the updates and download stuff that you've got purchased or whatever from other machines. Kind of nice. Speech and dictation, this hasn't changed a whole bunch. So there's just no ways about it. It works better and better every time we turn around. A lot better about it. They bought a couple other companies now. So there's some rumor talk that they may change Siri at some point in the future. Right now, they're licensing that technology from Nuance and 2 or 3 other companies, and that may change. Apple bought a company they can do it. That gives them some options. The startup disk, that's pretty much about the same. Notice it recognizes Mavericks. The Mavericks didn't recognize the 70. So I've got that option there still. Time machine, that looks to me to be pretty much about the same. So there's not a whole bunch that changes inside of system preferences. And of course, anything that you custom add in, like there was no by default, Apple no longer gives you a flash player. You have to go to the Adobe website to ensure that you're going to get one. Well, the first thing I did was go get one because there's just too many things on a Mac that still need a flash player, including some of the stuff that talks about Apple Yosemite. So let's take a look around a little bit. Here we are in Launchpad. Again, I don't use it. That's their new thing where you have the extra screens to scroll back. I haven't bothered. But that pretty much looks about the same. Here's Safari. Safari looks very different. I haven't decided whether I like it yet or not, and who's to say, no sense getting too serious about it, because I'm going to turn hiding back. But you can see that it's a to the screen.
It won't give you the exact web page that you're on. I don't recommend.
No, you're right. It's a little funny about that. It gives you this human interaction version here. So normally you'd see up here www.bod.ffnetwork.com. That would be the website.
Slash.
Notice you're not seeing that here anymore. Or the trailing slash, that would be subdirectory. That may be a preference that they add at some point in time, because I'd be willing to bet enough people who tried on that they'll stop using this browser.
Right.
I'm sorry, you started to ask questions?
No, I was going to say, is there some shortcut you can push to reveal that information?
If there is, I haven't found it yet.
I think if you show tabs, they say you can do it that way.
Do what?
Tabs.
Tabs, you
Um,
can do it that way.
No, try going to bookmarks. This is what I use sometimes. Bookmarks. No. By the pull-down menu. Okay. Let's see. There's bookmarks. And there, the bookmarks show you, when you double-click on these.
Here's the English representation right over here on the left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always ways around it. And
Send the website an email. That link will show up.
That's true,
Yeah.
it will. Okay, so we've got this favorites bar here along with these tabs. These are just tabs that are right here right now. That you can create more tabs if you want to, or you can also turn them off if you want to. This is new, they've added this over here, where whatever you're doing, you can click, anytime you're going to add or email or share or whatever, they've added those options into this one pop-up menu choice. So that you can email this page or directly go into messages from here, or if you have an AirDrop is that utility that gives send a file to Steve's computer if he's got AirDrop turned on. So that's kind of a handy feature that they've added that in here. You can also come over here and you can, as usual, come over here and customize the toolbar. And so you can either get the default toolbar right here. I've got something else.
yeah, that's how they pack them now.
Taking all this time, whatever they get here, I know I kids brought them all over.
Good, Wayne. As most of you know, if you're looking here, Apple released new versions of their iLife products just yesterday. Downloaded, installed, ready to go. I wanted to walk you through iMovie because it's probably my favorite.
Not bad. So if you come over here, if we go back over in here to, you have the options to show and hide the status bar, which is down there at the bottom. Show or hide the tab bar, again, up here at the top. Show or hide the favorites bar. So if you're limited on screen real estate like you can be on a Mac, of course I got a much higher resolution than what I can see here. And you can always come back in here to customize it and put your favorite icons you want up here or shortcuts you want up here. If I want to be able to get directly into mail it, come up here, still put that back in if I want to, or take it back out, either way, or drag the default one up there. Create a new tab. This always seems kind of redundant because you click over here on the plus. I never understood that one. I use the zoom text because sometimes the little page with the text is too small, and I like the idea of being able to zoom up on it quicker, or larger, at least on the stuff that will change in size. And I like the forward and back buttons. Oh, by the way, they talk about this is our red, green, our red, yellow being minimized, right down into the, and you can customize whether you want that to go back as a separate document or go into the application. Red, which will quit it. Green usually just expand it to the screen. Well, now it takes it to full screen. Not so sure I like that.
And they're also, if you notice the colors,
Muted.
flat.
Yeah, pastel. I personally like the really shiny looks. And you can bet somebody will have that.
Yeah, right.
Bring that back. So there is an option to put the developer menu out here, which is kind of nice. I like that because there'll be times where I can't get a page to work, and I demonstrate it here in Yosemite. But I've got Chrome, and I've also got Firefox in my Mavericks partition. And just in case I think I'm having a problem with something displaying funny, maybe it's a Safari problem, I come over here and say, open it up with one of the other browsers and see what it looks like over there. So that's kind of handy. But that exists in the current Safari over on the other world as well. Not a whole bunch there, but it's a little different. Like I said, one of the big things I don't care for is I'm not real hip on seeing this color bleed through on the sidebar here.
Oh, can't you do that with,
I haven't found it yet. Have you, Stuart? There's also supposed to be an option, at least I showed in the keynote, where you can make it dark. You know what I'm talking about? Where instead of having a white menu bar, you can have dark gray menu bars with white text.
Yeah, I forgot.
I
how
haven't
they
found
would do
that
it.
anywhere either. I know it's there somewhere.
I thought you used to be able to set whether you wanted the menu bar to be semi-transparent.
The menu bar here, yes, but not the sidebar. But that may be, right now it's kind of that bluish gray color that they use.
Right.
There may be an option for that. And remember, we're still talking beta. And I'm not so sure if I did a check right now, there might be another version that's already available. Because like I said, they've updated it twice since I did the sidebar. Nope, I don't see any option here at all.
The only way I know would be to change your background, and make it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of.
I'm not going to do that. I have yet to understand why anybody would want this at medium or long. I want them opening quick as possible.
Well, it depends. Sometimes, Greg, people who don't
see what's happening.
They don't see what's happening. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take something and you're going to drag it, and you may slow down. And if you say short, what it'll do is it'll open up and accidentally your finger comes off the mouse, because I've done this, and it drops it in the wrong folder, and then you got to go search for it.
Now this is a nice option they've added. When you're in the screen view here, is besides seeing a folder with just the A, which is the way we see it right now, it actually puts the name of the folder. I think that's very smart. So if I come back over here and look at this way, I see the icon, which I always saw before, but I also see the name of the application. Even though it's highlighted down here in the bottom, I see that up here. And I think that was well thought out. So I'm sure in the long run, they're hoping to get you to associate the picture more with the word, so that because you might want to go strictly to icon view, that hasn't changed any, or list view, that pretty much hasn't changed. And so this is kind of nice. I think they've done a good job of this. And of course, all these windows are customizable. Except I haven't figured out where to customize this yet. But we will. I'm sure there'll be something out there that'll solve that.
Easy symbol.
Pardon?
Easy symbol, which doesn't
Yeah,
work.
I'm sure. We usually within about 2 or 3 days, we've got people who have come up with all kinds of terminal hacks to be able to do what you want to do, and then usually somebody like a Tinker Tool or whatever will come out with some option to be able to change something.
They're probably working on it now.
Yeah, I'm sure. This looks pretty much like the same mail.
Oh, what about the markup? You can make-
I haven't tried that, so I'm not exactly sure.
oh yeah, you can.
And that's going to be a new feature where you'll be able to, if somebody sends me a PDF, I'll be able to actually mark the document and
Yes.
send it back to them. That'll be a new feature coming along. That's kind of nice.
What do you mean, you can write on the PDF?
Yeah,
You'll actually
just
write
like
on a layer on the PDF.
yeah,
I like that.
with circles and arrows and text and annotations, all kinds of. It's really good.
See, they've really gotten away from the Steve Jobs, everything's got to look like leather with thread on it. I just want it to work, basically.
Well, some of the things, Greg, though, that they've taken out, and one of their things is making it flatter.
They are, and part of that reasoning is to make it look more consistent with the iOS devices. I think in the long run that makes sense.
Oh, right.
But I still
the
think there still has to be a place where you can tweak it yourself.
yeah, there's the thing of having the deal that, oh, I didn't know you knew Susan DiCaprio. That Leonardo's wife.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
she worked at Comic Ultra.
I've gotten so frustrated with the change that they made from 6 to 7.
Yeah, that was pretty drastic.
That is too drastic, and I haven't taken the time. They always say, "Oh, go to the bug list or something like that, and put in what you think."
Well, actually, insofar it's probably. I'm looking at the wrong spot here.
You look, oh, how many people have taken and accidentally on your iPad or iPhone, we're going to move from one spot to another, and in the middle of the process, it takes an input somewhere along that way, and you end up in the wrong app. Yeah, see. And I've always wanted, after doing it so many times,
Undo.
is to, no, not undo. You have one tap or two. You can select whether you want to do it one tap or two to activate it. So, like for instance, if I wanted to open an app, I just go tap tap, and I've got it. Too many times it takes me into, just by moving my finger, especially on the iPad, there's more surface. I get the wrong app, and it's just time wasters, really.
I'll look when I go back over to Mavericks. I found about a week after iOS 7 came out, I found a PDF online for $10, and it's like 80 pages with a screen snapshot that explained everything. Because I had a hard time figuring out how do you get to the search field. The notification center thing keeps not notification, but the control center down the bottom.
Oh yeah.
I have it turned off where it only works when I'm back at the main screen or off, not inside of an application. Because I was notoriously bringing it up while I was doing stuff.
Yeah, well, that really frustrated
And
me.
I got this PDF for $10 that I thought was a lifesaver. I read through it in a couple of hours. And literally, the good thing is I can look at it on the Mac and try everything over here on the phone, which I really like. Of course, I gave it to my wife. She never bothered to open it up. But at least she has it. Can't see I didn't give it to her.
The biggest,
Just for fun,
Yeah.
did you try right clicking on the blank area on the sidebar to see if you can change the transition? With the right click?
And if you go to contacts and you look in preferences, no, yeah.
The normal search, the normal account setup. How do you want your template to look? What do you want
Yeah.
to
And general, what's up there?
It pretty much looks about the same.
Yeah, so it's no way that we can see.
But again, that doesn't mean it's not there. It might be, because there's one or two pages I was going on, and whenever I went to one specific view, text was all bunched up on top of itself.
Right.
So it's obviously not ready to be released.
No.
So that's okay. That's why you play with it for a while or whatever.
Apple
In fact,
never used
a lot
to
of people,
do this, but
a lot of
this
people
is-
feel, and I know Steve is, I'm a bleeding edge person. But Steve is one that likes to say, you know, when a new anything comes out, wait till the point one version comes out if you're really unsure. If you got a backup, who cares? You can always get back.
Well,
It's less than well known.
the question comes up is, and we were talking about this at dinner last night out at my nephew's house. Okay, they're going to come out with a new iPhone. And my son pipes up and says, but don't buy it on the first day because, you know, if you traded in your old phone and it worked and everything was set, and if they find a bug in it, in the new one, you know, it's going to screw things up.
I don't believe that. I don't buy that one. First off, you can go if you're gonna turn this into Gazelle or something like that. The day you go to buy the new one, you lock down the price on Gazelle. You're good for 30 days.
Oh, really?
So that gives you 30 days to back out. Well, you haven't sent it to them, so it doesn't make any difference. But you've locked in that price.
Oh, I see.
So if the price starts going down the next day or the next day or the next day or the next day, you've locked in that price the day you
Oh, really?
So like this one right now, this is a 64 gig, and I think it's $230.
Oh, for the
This is what Gazelle did for me as of yesterday.
and that's a 5?
5 days?
No,
This is
5.
5. And so my commitment's going to end in September, October. Oh, it's worth more money, for about $30 more if I get it unlocked.
Yeah. And who's your
AT&T.
AT&T is
I'm
running?
not so sure. I bought a 2-year. I bought the Apple Care Plus, and at the time it was 3 years total
What?
for the Apple Care. Just 2 years.
There's 2. They only.
Your initial year and 2 more. Just 1 year.
That's the computers that are 3 years.
Okay, but whatever.
Even my my Apple TV, I bought the $29 Apple Care, and it adds 1 year, and that's it. There's no renewal. There's no nothing.
Now, if you want to do that, you can go with Safeguard or something like
Right,
that.
right.
On the transparency, I found where it says you can go to system preferences, accessibility, and there's a checkbox to reduce transparency.
Happy,
What?
Corky? On the right month now. I just didn't. It remembers where I was at the last time.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was automatic.
It says here for the transparency, go to system preferences, accessibility, and it says there's a checkbox to reduce transparency.
Really?
What's accessibility, reduce transparency?
Oh, God.
Try that. See if it works. I don't know.
Oh, and there's the grayscale option.
Yeah. Invert colors. Oh God. There was one time.
That's great if you're working for Kodak. Or
No,
something
great.
like that.
When we had a person come into the class one time and their phone had flipped that way, and it's like we could not figure out what had happened.
What about Safari and see the translucent?
No, it was contact.
Where's contacts?
Well, anything with a sidebar.
Yeah.
Yeah, better.
Oh yeah, much better. The thing too is, I forgot where you were back there. Just yeah, that's nice. That inverted colors though, boy.
You're right.
That hung us up for quite a while. But I tell you, nowadays, if you get stuff and you don't understand, just go to Google.
Yeah, I just did.
And that's exactly how he found it, was he went to Google. And you don't, and one thing, the less you put in, the broader amount of things it's going to give you. Every time you add a word, it hones it in more finely. And so you try and put it what you want into words and keep it as short as possible, and then see what you get.
And phrase it as your answer would be. In other words, you don't type in how do you reduce transparency. You type in reducing transparency on Yosemite by. It would be.
It's pretty good about figuring out your question. It's pretty good about that. Like I said, I was trying to figure out a way to partition the hard drive without having to back everything up.
Yeah. you try and be as specific as you say. Google started out, actually we started out with Alta Vista, I think was the first search engine. And when Google came out, it was basically you type and you'd hit enter and you'd wait, and then it would pop up with some answers. And now, what it does is it tracks what people's requests are, and the ones that are the most common, they put in a little, almost like when you type in mail, you type in somebody's name to put their address in the thing, and it's basically called clairvoyance, which is it tries to read your mind, and it's gotten fantastic, but there is so much stuff out there that you can find. I was going to have an operation, and I wanted to know what is the whole thing about, and I went and searched it. Came up on articles. It came up on YouTube. A whole bit.
Yeah.
So it is very useful.
So the calendar looks pretty much about the same. They're making it look more similar to the iOS calendar than anything else. So they've added this feature, which is kind of nice. I put with that. So I can say, yeah, I use Fantastic Cal, which I like,
Yeah, it's nice.
and which is better because it'll get the address, it'll pull everything. But it's getting better and better all along, so that's good. That's good work. That's the important part.
Yeah. Well, fantastic how you just do one click in the menu bar and you got your whole month.
It's great. I think it's terrific. This is reminders.
Fantastic calendar. Is that the one you had that it gives you an image and you see through to your desktop?
No, that's Blotter.
Wow.
Both of those are available on the Apple website. Fantastic. I was like, I'm going to go to about 8 or 9. This is Notification Center, which you can customize stuff, but there's what it looks like. You'll normally get just a little banner one, unless you bring this one up completely. And here's your notifications broken out, depending on how much you've got decided to show up. This is totally customizable. You can come up down here to edit, and depending on where you're at, I'm going to put my
Very good. Notifications have a thing on system preferences.
Yeah.
Go check it, because I just noticed you moved the thing over to the left, and it changed the transparency. I mean, the background. See where you say today, how purple it is?
Yeah.
Now, move that other thing out of the way. The window, just drop it down a little bit. And then leave it there. And then bring your that and move it to the left. Near the window. You did it just a second ago. How did you do it?
That would actually open up the notification utility. Oh, I see, in the edit mode.
Yeah, in the end. Okay, you see it drop the right.
Well, you can still see some shadowing behind it.
Right. So but is there another thing over here? No.
But you can put commonly used stuff inside here. These are basically like the old ancestors.
Oh, God.
But it's the application, front end as an application.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of handy from that standpoint. Maps, they added that with Mavericks, and which I think is great. I mean, it's a great way for them to integrate the two. I think it's a nice feature that you can look up something in Mavericks or obviously in Yosemite, look up an address here like Coco's as an example, send to my iPhone, and it's already there when I'm ready to go. So
Right.
I think that's kind of a cool feature.
And shows that there you go, satellite. Look at that. That's the feature.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
and I think it's like it's better than Google.
Well, each of them, like for instance, I went to LA and I wanted to take a certain route or something, and the thing that bothered me was when I used Google, it would give me the steps on the phone output, but it wouldn't put it here. Whereas Apple one puts it in my
It
headset.
doesn't, the Google Maps doesn't play through the headphones?
It
It
plays.
wouldn't play through a car stereo either.
I don't know. But the thing was is that I really like it here because it doesn't break up people talking and stuff like that. And it usually, when it comes through the speaker on the phone, it's loud. But you got to grab it and flip it down and all that jazz.
So I think this is available on Maverick right now, but I think this is really, there's that little, they're going to be using that symbol that send it somewhere else. That you can automatically grab it and send it to somebody's email or Twitter or LinkedIn or add to contacts or whatever, send to iPhone. I think that's a great feature. If you don't have to go do it a second time on your iPhone.
But I tell you, you could spend a day or more just going all over the city. It's like being in an airplane, basically. Look at that.
It's not showing any cars in the freeway. That's why
Wait a second.
Well, there's an option to show traffic. I don't know how they would get that, to be honest with you, unless you had an active feed somewhere.
Yeah, they would have to.
And maybe that's just not enabled right now, for all I know. Because, I wish that freeway was like that most of the time.
Yeah.
It was when I left work yesterday. It was like that going home.
Oh, there was an app that my son got me about traffic cams, and basically it gives you two. One's in New York and one's in the Netherlands, and they have a picture of their freeway. Maybe there's 5 cars on the freeway, and it's like, I remember that when they opened the Harbor Freeway in Pasadena. But that is, it is really. Yeah. You want to see your neighbor sunbathing in the backyard?
That's not a live feed.
No, it's not. But I have seen people talk. I was
Yeah.
had a customer, and I think it was a member actually. And what happened was somebody was outside, 2 guys talking, and their faces were buzzed out, and they were there, and it's like they catch all sorts of stuff.
Someone once they caught a man and a woman outside getting physical.
No, it was really light traffic thing. So I mean, I think Apple's done, and considering how screwed up Maps was when first, I think they've done a tremendous job.
Zoom into the terminal. They're gone. I've never seen that place with no planes. Oh, that's fun. Oh yeah.
That looks more like a painting than a photograph.
Based on it was basically a still shot that they had taken, from a truck or from a satellite, and it basically wasn't in real time that you were looking.
Well, it isn't.
Oh, no, it's not.
There's a few planes there.
That they may be. Yeah, there's one. Okay. Well,
I don't think I'd want to fly that plane, but.
In fact, look at the one there, the ship. There must have been a nuclear blast.
That's what it is. They're looking at the frozen apocalypse speaker.
like I said, you could play all day on this thing.
Oh yeah.
That is very interesting, though. That is the first time, and this is the Google version, right? Or the
Oh, this is
Maps.
This is Apple's Maps.
I've never seen without cars.
Well, there's cars in the parking lot there.
Oh yeah.
Usually, you're right. Usually,
But
you
I
see
mean,
2 or 3 cars
on
on
the
the street.
street.
They've got some kind of an algorithm that maps the surface and then removes the cars specifically so that people don't think it's real time.
Yeah. That's good. Very good.
Anyway, that's Maps. And most of that resides with the way we are right now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was that give you the traffic there?
The traffic is probably not viable right now. Usually what the traffic will show is currently on Apple's map, it shows like green bars, yellow bars, or red bars, depending on what the traffic cans have. You don't see the cars.
Right.
It just shows a bar there in front of you to let you know what the average speed is going through that section.
Right.
And that's both Google's and Apple's version of that, relatively accurate.
Yeah, well, the problem that I have found is with the Google version, it takes and highlights, or not highlights basically, it puts a green stripe down, you can't adjust it or anything,
Right.
it's green. Well, below that, when you do satellite view and then do what's called a hybrid, where they take and they show the satellite view and put street names in or freeway names in, stuff like that, when the green's there, and you say you've said, how do I get to the airport? Okay, and then when you're driving, you say, I want to check the traffic. So it's put a blue line down first, and then when you request traffic, it puts the green line on, or red or yellow, and it's like, you can't see what the name was.
There's always Sigalert.com,
Yeah.
and that's really good. That'll give the traffic conditions, and there's cameras, a live feed of cameras all around.
Sigler has that?
Yeah, especially Orange County is coated with cameras.
One big part about Google is with the Apple map, they give you, they make a couple routes.
Yeah.
With Google,
Take a look.
routes.
Some-
If you don't like any of those, you can make your own route.
Yeah, it's true. You can't do that on the
Not on the
Apple.
phone. Not on the phone. And not on the phone or the iPad. On iOS, you cannot alter it. It gives you pick one.
On Google Maps?
On Google Maps. On Google Maps on the computer, you can do that
Oh, yeah.
with your mouse. You take and grab it anywhere, it puts a little white dot, and you can kind of guide it around to where you want it. But I found that missing from the phone in iOS 7.
I haven't seen a big change in messages, so it's one that's
That was kind of puzzled by the map. I was totally showing for 55, it said 5.
Huh?
So you showing our location here?
Where do you see 55? Our location.
Oh,
where are you? Okay,
Yeah, right there. It shows what I thought was the 55 right there.
on the left?
Well, why don't you look up here? Here's the 55 right here.
Yeah.
Here's the 55 still down here. Here's the 73 breaking off, which is the freeway right next to us out here. It's 73.
Or the sign doesn't show up until way out there.
Yeah, it's like off the other here, but
See right there in front now, it said it was a 1. So, when you first, for a while, that was.
What are you seeing a what?
No, it flew away. Okay, look for it.
Okay, preview. This doesn't look like it's a whole bunch different, other than they took the kid out of the picture. There was some big controversy about that. Remember, there used to be a
On the dock.
on the actual icon itself, there used to be like a picture of a kid or somebody. They took that out for whatever reason. It's been there since like the first day. They used to identify on a magnifying glass. It's no longer a red and blue.
Yeah.
It's higher technology.
Yeah.
You missed FaceTime.
FaceTime. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
On the good.
Still got the ugly option on here, unfortunately.
Click save. There it is. Oh, there you go. Okay. There you go. And we were doing this and Skype with my niece when she was in England and in Israel. And I mean, it was like everybody. I'm going to stop that because it's echoing. The thing is that you went to see. There we go. Cancel. Over at the Disneyland, AT&T's a place used to show, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And it's like, now you look at it and say, God, that sucks.
Oh, the video of the future thing?
Yeah, your phones would have these.
I was watching 2001 the other day, and they're showing, you know, he's up in the space station or whatever, he's making a phone call, you know, to his daughter or whatever it is, wish her happy birthday. It's so hokey compared to us carrying around a television studio.
Oh, God, I mean, what we've got now is just.
I guess this is something like iChat, right?
It's essentially iChat with video.
Yeah,
Messages is the replacement for iChat.
I see.
If you can log
It's
in.
almost like they're getting rid of the I naming convention, except for maybe their hardware.
What is that little thing there, at the top of the, down there, just go above the road? You'll see, yeah, right here, see that little.
Those little circles
That symbol up there.
up left. There.
Down,
Right
Right
there.
there, right there, what is
I
that?
don't know. Oh, it's that.
Oh, okay.
You might get a board or whatever. You want to select something.
Yeah, a lot of these markups you can do in Mail too now. It's really.
So all the tools are now embedded in an icon with toolbox.
Right.
You've got, you know, you want to come down here and circle something or whatever.
You know, this is going to put a lot of third parties out of business, or it's making them hurt a little bit.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh, it's always had that.
Wouldn't let you write on it.
Won't let you write on the original or work on a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you actually write on this like a footnotes to it?
Sure. You can do that now.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to do that for like the last three versions
Yeah,
or
I
so.
know you can do that with freedom one, but this one I haven't seen tools that to do it. Now, can you make a bubble to that note?
Trying to get to the, you can change the font, and I'm trying to remember where
Can you go?
There it goes, right there, to the right of the phone.
that's the box. You want the text.
Yeah, go back up to the A.
Online.
No, to your right. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's obnoxious looking, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that sits on the invisible layer, so.
And it was obnoxious putting a note over an anthem.
But you've been able to do that on preview for the last 3 or 4 operating systems, so nice feature. I mean, it's pretty advanced considering it's a free application built into the operating system. Okay. iTunes, I didn't see a big change in that. Yeah, you guys can.
Rick, what was that iTunes Plus thing we were talking about?
iTunes Plus, it's actually called, oh well, 2 things now. Maybe you're thinking of iTunes Mac. But iTunes Plus is the 256-bit quality music rather than the old 128-bit quality music. And when you import music, when you buy anything from the iTunes, it's going to be at least 256. When you import music, you can come down here and go to import settings and choose either high quality, which is what it used to be, or the iTunes Plus, which is $256, which is theoretically twice the capability of what it is. If you bought the iTunes Music Match service, which is $25 a year, that means that not only stuff that you purchase from the iTunes Music Store, video or TV music store as well, but any music you presently have on your iTunes, if you turn on the Music Match option, it identifies that music up in the cloud and locks it in saying, hey, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this. We'll now have a copy for you available. So what that means is if you've got a lower quality 128 bit you can turn on in the display, you can turn on and see what the resolution or what the quality is you've got for your music. And I can show on the notes here somewhere. I can't remember what it's called. Sample rate. All that one. Bit rate, that's it. And so you can see, like the ones here, you can look down here, you can see, there we go. Now the iTunes is turned on this one. So you see all these with the little down arrow? It's recognizing, since I have no library under Yosemite here, it's recognizing that I've got that song up at the cloud. So if I had that song as a 128-bit version here, but I see the cloud symbol, I could delete my local version, click on the download cloud symbol, and I would get a 256-bit version download. So the Music Match does two things. Obviously, all stuff you purchase from Apple, you've got backed up, you're okay with the problem. But with the Music Match, any music that you have that they may have a better quality version of music. You trash your local versions and download yours. Anything that you have here that Apple doesn't have at their site, you can have it uploaded and keep a copy of it up there. It's your choice. Or rather than uploading everything that's there, if it's already got it, why do it? That was one of the drawbacks to the Amazon or Google or whoever it was that had something similar, was that they uploaded all your music up there. What for? You probably got some of the same stuff that I'm really big into jazz and swing. So you probably got some of the same stuff that Wynn's got, that Steve's got, that whatever. Why would you want 50,000 copies of the exact same thing when you have one copy and just 50,000 pointers for all people legally have access to it?
You can't upgrade for $25.
Not yet. I hope that's a change that they offer.
That's something that's kind of holding me back because I think by the time I get it modified.
The only thing you could do right now that I come up with was to create a second iTunes library. So you could have, library A and library B, and you can't have them both at the same time. So you can get an iTunes, sort of like the iPhotos library manager. You could do something along the same lines for iTunes. Hold down the option key when you boot up iTunes. You can point to library A or library B or whatever. That becomes your default library from right now.
Then you have to pay price.
Then you have to buy it twice. That's the only way you can do it right. Or, like I said, I haven't come up with a really clean way of doing it. I would like to selectively, like a lot of the music that I've acquired is just exactly that. It was given to me by somebody else. I might have the entire album of. You also get the cloud symbol when you're in the icon or cover mode, so you can see that that's downloadable from up there. So this, you might think this is the entire album. Chances are it's one song. I could care less about that. What I'd like to be able to do is well, I don't have it dropped, so that would download that streaming down here right now. I'd like to be able to selectively go through and put the stuff I don't want that, so that I can use my 25,000 a little more intelligently. I haven't run across anybody's comment on that or a better way of doing it. But there's some rumors that iTunes is going to majorly revamp within the next few months. So hopefully they'll break out iTunes Radio. That's been one talk. They may break out the apps. and have them as separate applications to it. And then I'd love to see them do that for this. Keep music, TV, and video, keep entertainment all together, to separate all the other. iTunes Radio hasn't been really successful as they were hoping for. Now maybe this Beats acquisition will have something to do with it. Because it looks like they may come up with a streaming service for that purpose. But
We archive iTunes. I'm wondering how to do this to have such a massive. Suppose I download. Well, first of all, let me ask you: should I download to my iMac, or should I upload to my iMac, or should I upload it directly to my external hard drive? And I do that.
none of my music is on a built-in drive. Now I'm up to 3 of these 2 terabyte external drives, one with movies that's full. And, my iTunes one's got only a couple hundred gig of music on it. And so I'm putting movies over there as well.
So you can import directly to the external.
You can specify where you want to go in the preferences. And before I figured that out, and there's things that talk about that, I was making aliases and letting it do it that way. But you can specify whenever you import music, add it to the iTunes library. Do you want it moved to another location? Or do you want to leave it wherever it's at and just access it? That's an option that you have.
Do you create iTunes and external hard drive and show it in order to do this, because I don't have it here? How does that? In other words, I want to use iTunes and my external hard drive. Do I have to download it to the external hard drive?
The program?
The program.
The program needs a computer to be able to do that.
Yeah, iTunes is a computer.
So you can move iTunes to your hard drive if you want to. You can do that. And run it from the hard drive to the computer. But it won't run by itself unless you got it plugged into a computer. That makes sense? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm confused. I have iTunes on my iPad.
The program, the application.
Okay, now I want to have iTunes.
The libraries externally.
I want to have the library externally.
Which I do.
Have iTunes, the application on the external.
No, you don't need to do that.
No.
You can come over into the preferences and you can choose it under the advanced. iTunes media folder location, where do you want it to go? So this is reading off of, this is where it's going right now. It's presently going to, my iTunes drive, which is my other drive that I've got. Pull it too far, this is this drive right here. So everything incoming goes into this drive right now, as it is right now. iTunes is kind of funny. If you've got the application running, an example, this movies drive only got 1 or 2 gigs available on it right now, open space. If I find inside, and I've ripped all 300 or so laser discs that I had. I ripped my 300 or 400 DVDs that I have. I'm up to 1,600 some odd movies right now. I probably bought a couple hundred movies from that. What gets me to buy was when they have the deals, like they'll offer some. They're starting to get into classic movies that are offering for $9.99. All of us usually copy that. And a lot of times they'll go back and they'll pull a pristine version. They clean up all the scratches and stuff. The ones I got look like crap. They came from whoever had them. So I slowly go back and at some point in time I'll have. A good example is I couldn't find the movie, the Burt Reynolds movie, Starting Over anywhere. I couldn't find it. Bought it off of Amazon. It was crap. It was in horrible shape. For whatever reason, one day I sat and typed in Starting Over on iTunes, and there it was available for $12.99. So I bought it from iTunes. When the new Spider-Man comes out, when the new Captain America comes out, when the new there's 2 or 3 others that I've got there. I just got Transcendence a couple of days ago with Johnny Depp. That movie. I've done it, and I've done a lot of the pre-orders. But I've learned the hard way that sometimes I'll go in and I'll click pre-order, so I'll get it automatically when it shows up. Because I would have spent $7 or $8 to see it at a movie theater, and then if my wife went with me, we would have doubled up on that. So I can basically pay for a copy of the movie myself, that I can do on my iPhone. Well, my future iPad I'm going to get in September, October after the new one. So what I've started doing is waiting and only buying it when I absolutely have to have it because I find it. I won't say what I call them. I'll find out that the movie that today is $19.99 because it's brand new. 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now, it may be on special for 1 or 2 days for $14 or $12.99. And I've made that mistake. I bought the new Jack Ryan movie and paid $19.99. I pre-ordered it and bought it for $19.99. And right now it's available for $12.99. Just for a short time. It's like incentive to suck more people in. So if I don't need to get it right away, I'll wait a month or two. I figure by then it'll make a difference. But I'm slowly going back in all the favorites. I bought Vertigo not too long ago. I have Vertigo on Laserdisc. I have it on DVD. And now I have it on iTunes. I ripped them so I had a version of it that I could watch on the computer. It wasn't any worse than what I had watching it on television. I had a very pristine tinted computer. And whatever they did, they went through and they cleaned it up big time. I mean, whoever did it spent some money. Probably they were making, whenever they come out with a version of movie in Blu-ray, you can bet Apple is going to upgrade from that Blu-ray. So I'm going to slowly update all the stuff in my library on an as-needed basis. Gee, I really like this movie, I really like that. I'm really a collector of old sci-fi films. The worse, the better. And so I've got pretty much almost every one of them. But I've had to acquire them nefarious ways through friends or off the internet or find an old videotape I'll buy. A lot of times you can go to, I used to go to Walmart and they'd have the DVD bin where you get movies for like $3 or $4 right before you Blockbuster going out of business. I'd go over and buy a whole bunch of those and rip those just so I could get them. But thank God they've got this option here. Before they had this ability for you to be able to put those files wherever you want to. If I click on reset, it's going to default and go back on my internal hard drive. If I click on change, I can tell iTunes to put the music wherever I want iTunes to do it. When I rip something myself, it either goes into my downloads folder, or if I was too full, I would rip it to an external hard drive, and then I would let iTunes move that over, or I'd manually move it over and just point iTunes towards it. That answer your question, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, I do have an NAS drive, and I'm able to put my songs there. It's another drive, and I don't need to have a computer on to be able to play that to my Apple TV.
For Apple TV, that's true. That's true. You can do that with the Apple TV.
Right.
I wanted it to be, I have a backup. I have a 3 terabyte time machine. I took the drive out for my own 3 terabyte drive in when I got this machine. And I bought an external 3 terabyte that's plugged in, so it's acting like an NAS drive. And I'm going to have to add another one. And right now, I took my time machine backup runs every hour like everybody else's does. But I don't have it back up the external drives. I don't have it back these up. I'm only backing up what's on the machine itself. And then at 1 a.m. in the morning, I'm using Carbon Copy Cloner to make an updated backup of my TV shows, my iTunes, and my movies drives that terabyte external through the regular wireless network. And the first one was really slow, but now it only has to add 1 or 2 songs or 1 or 2. Don't worry about the songs anymore because you got music. 1 or 2 movies or 1 or 2 TV shows that I ripped from something else to that 3 terabyte, just as an emergency, go get it back. Yes.
Greg, I noticed that you have 2 items media folder organized. What does it do when you have a bunch of stuff that you play from somewhere else?
Just leaves them individually, doesn't know what to do with them.
Puts them all in one place.
They're just in there loose. So it'd be like
having to put it somewhere.
Yeah, it still puts them in your storage area. Like music, it recognizes music, so they'll just be in there as loose songs. So you have to manually go back and organize it yourself.
Check the next time you open it. Look for it.
Well, that is the trick. No, it won't find it. So what will happen is you'll click on a song or a movie or a TV show, and it'll say, I can't find it because it's been moved since the last time it was there. But there'll be an option to click on locate, and then that'll bring up a dialog box, and you can navigate over to wherever it's at. And once you're there, it'll also come up and say, want me to see if anything else is moved? And go back and update the database. Now, The other trick is, let's say as an example, this iTunes drive got too full. So I've got iTunes 2, let's say a new drive called iTunes 2, and I've already pointed the new stuff to go to iTunes 2. And I want to free up some space on iTunes 1. I'm just trying to name it that way. If the iTunes program is open and running, but I switch over to Finder and I manually move files around, because it's active, it recognizes what I'm doing. It's only when you do it and it's not running. It doesn't know how to find it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. In my case, I have like 90% of my stuff is the stuff that I transferred from CD, not CD, but
Ripping from CDs or
not
whatever.
from CDs, but from LPs, but it doesn't know what to do with those, or
Right.
from CD, tape, or streaming music from the internet. It doesn't know what to do with any of those. So most
You
of my
have
stuff,
to do the work yourself. I mean,
yeah, so I don't check that because I don't want it to stick in my own place.
oh, well, that's fine. Like, you know, that's why we have the choices that we have.
I organize myself. I'd be careful, but you have to let it check that.
But for whatever reason, when I rip a movie from a DVD, because my dad's got a few of my DVDs that I gave on, but the next time I'm over there, I'll pick them up and borrow them back so I can fit it into my collection, just to have them again. And I started doing that because I was going, when I was camping in the motorhome, I'd take some DVDs with me, and I'd get back and I'd find out that every little piece of crap that I was walking around in, I transferred onto that disc and scratched that movie up. And so at least electronically, as long as I got a backup copy, I'm okay, I solved that problem. But I find that if I come back over and if I get, I'll use the movie Carousel as an example. If I get Carousel off the DVD, there is like the CD database that's out there on the internet. Well, usually what I'll do is I've got a couple of utilities that I can click on, and they're supposed to read the data and the name and go out and find them. For whatever reason, it always calls lately they always call everything a home movie. So it never sorts them the right way, right off the bat. But I found out that I can group a whole bunch of these, select a whole bunch of them, and go change one initial change like home movie to movie. At least they'll show up in the movies list. And then they'll have just the title of the movie. If they don't have a new title, it'll have whatever it was called on the DVD. So somewhere in time, as an example, is somewhere _ time, and I don't particularly care for that naming convention. So I can rename it in the iTunes library, and it stays there. But it's still called somewhere _ time, physically in its storage spot. I can go rename it there if I want to, too. What I've now gotten the habit of doing is I want my, I don't have the movies, but I want my movies to look as legit as possible inside the library. So after I put the movies in the location where I want to, I'll go back and click it. There's an option inside of iTunes. There's an option inside of iTunes called Add to Library. This allows you to go navigate. You see, it's got a folder now. This is new. It's got a folder called Automatically Add to Library, so I can drag it in there. But I could go back and select. The movies are sitting in one of my external storage drives. I'll put a date at it. I'll put that column. I'll put the date at it and select 1 through 10. That's the newest movies I've got. And click on Add to Library. So now it adds it into the iTunes library, but just the name. It doesn't have artwork. Doesn't have anything like that. Then what I'll do is, so if I go back over here to songs. Then what I would do is I would come over here and I would do a Command-I, bring up the info, and verify, yeah, that's really what the name is. This is grayed out because it knows it's a cloud sign. I would come over here to the video and I would put the name manually here in the video. I would go back to Safari, click on the name of the movie, Lawrence of Arabia. Click on Lawrence of Arabia. One of the options is the Internet Movie Database. There I can get the year, the director, the actors. I can get all the information I want, and the clip art. Sometimes it's really flappy clip art. Sometimes it's just a DVD that they've Xeroxed. So sometimes that looks pretty great. But at least I'll have a placeholder to be able to add to my iTunes library. And I'll go in and I'll it's not exactly a time saving. I'll manually go in and the episode ideas for physical television show. So I'll manually go in and paste the name, the director, the year, and put the genre down. And then in the second category on the video, pretty much looks the same. I'll just put this information. And whatever they've got as a descriptor in the IMDb, I'll copy and paste it. Then I'll go over to artwork, because there won't be any artwork. Sometimes it'll be the first, the video might be a keyframe. And I'll go back and select that image over on IMDb and paste it in here so that my movie database catalog, as I'm looking through it, looks as close to iTunes as possible. Now I'm taking it one step further. iTunes has, so we'll show it to you. I've still got some movies on the drive. So here's a good example. Here's American Gangster. So we'll look at American Gangster. That's retired. Notice that this has got this I got through iTunes. It was on sale for $9.99, so I went ahead and bought it. That was the extended edition. That's got the crap that was edited out for them to do with it to fit into a time frame of movie. If it's got iTunes extras, that's really a cool feature, I think, to be able to see some of the behind the scenes. I mean, here's an example. I bought the movie Gravity before I had a chance to see it. I knew it was going to be good. So I bought the movie Gravity, downloaded it, I got the iTunes extra. I already looked on the internet and found all kinds of video clips talking about the movie. The iTunes extra in the movie Gravity has none of the behind the scenes making the movie. Instead, it's the director and his son talking about the problem we have with all the junk floating in space, which is what the problem is about in the movie, and what they're trying to do to track it, clean it up, whatever. It kind of pissed me off. So if I went and bought the Blu-ray, I'd get all the behind-the-scenes crap. But guess what? Most of the behind-the-scenes crap's available on YouTube. That's right. So all I got to do is go over to YouTube and look it up. So iTunes already created a folder. Whenever you buy a movie from iTunes, it's always got a folder. And inside that folder, there would be the iTunes Extra, which is their menu structure, what they call an ITE format, and the movie itself. You can play the movie from within the iTunes Extras option. So when it comes up, since it's in that folder, I'll just grab all those YouTube, convert them all over to a format that I can use. I don't want it to flash. And shove them into that folder. At least I've got them there.
Are you using Safari when you go on YouTube?
Say that again?
You use Safari when you go to YouTube?
Yeah. But it doesn't make any difference.
Wait, what download did you
iTubeX. iTubeX.
iTube. T-U-B-E.
YouTube, iTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the one that I've had the most success with.
My son put something right on mine, and basically what it does is it just adds the words download.
Yeah, you just add the word download to it.
And you just,
So that's how I got all the Conan O'Brien stuff, all that kind of stuff. I see something. I subscribe to a couple of their mailing lists, whatever he does at Apple Spoof, I did it. And so now I decided, I just haven't started doing it yet. I downloaded the iTunes Extra template. Believe it or not, it's available on Apple for you to create your own iTunes Extras. Because I've got the movie Swashbuckler, which is not available through iTunes, and I found it I had it on a Laserdisc, but I found a better copy of it in the forest, so I figured already bought it once, that's good enough. But I found all the extras. The guy had made all the extras. He'd gotten off of something or whatever. I've got them all. They're all sitting in a folder, but they don't show up inside of iTunes. That's the primary movie. But now I've got the wherewithal and the information from Google on how to start building my own iTunes extras, my own versions of them. So eventually I'll have them all copied for that. Well, that's a taste of Yosemite, and if I see anything major that shows up for next month, I'll talk about it again next month.
Okay, if you could on the back row, if you could just hold the chairs and put them in that corner.